Because I come with years of experience in community outreach. Prior to even being part of the Peoria Police Department, I was part of the Macon County Sheriff Department. I ran a program in Decatur called Operation Ceasefire. It's community based, and so I was based in the neighborhood where all the crime was happening, shootings and killings, and I was able to, with a team of individuals and also our community-based program, was able to help in the area where the crime was happening. And so we were able to reduce crime in certain areas. So when I heard about the program here and having my years of experience in community outreach and now as a police officer, it was fitting to take on the position here in Peoria and be able to hopefully make a difference here in this community.
As far as you've been here now just for 2 months, about what is it like compared to being a normal officer?
Pretty much to me what it's like compared to just being just an average and normal officer. I'm able now to have a lot of hands-on with the residents here. If they have an issue, I'm able to spend a little bit more time than most regular officers. They go from call to call to call to call. And so I'm able to spend a lot of time dealing with an issue if it's a problem, and also sitting down and just talking to people in their living rooms, seeing what their needs are, seeing what their concerns are, talking to their kids, talking to family members, and just breaking bread with them, maybe sometimes having a meal with them and things like that.
You know, one of the things that I've found, and I've been writing about crime for 20 years, is that oftentimes how people view law enforcement is based upon how they were treated or how they saw their loved ones be treated. You'll see kids who are too young to know better grow up hating the police because they saw them haul mom, dad, sis, brother, whatever off and was rough and violent. How much of your job, sir, do you think is not so much law and enforcement, but rebuilding ties?
A lot of my job is rebuilding ties. Like you did say, a lot of times when young people see the police in certain areas of their community, they believe the police are bad because sometimes the only time they see a police officer is when something is happening bad, and they see a police officer maybe haul off and take someone to jail or maybe their loved ones. And so as a residential officer, I see that me coming into their living rooms and me meeting them on the street, maybe canvassing the neighborhood, stopping in the car, getting out the car, talking to them, is able to let them see me in a whole different light than possibly what they are used to seeing in the past or whatever. I'm able to sit down with them, communicate with them, and just be just a normal person to them. So
how big of a deal is that? And I ask that because we are sitting in the South End, an area that is in the news a lot for crime. We're in an area that's not far from a recent officer-involved shooting. We're in an area that is not far from many murders. But we're also in an area that's not far from some fantastic folks who live here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the South End. What I'm asking you, sir, is how much of a difference do you think that these programs make, drawing on your experience in ceasefire as well as here?
It's going to make a big difference because when you have an officer that is focused and based clearly to bridge the gap between the police department and the community, like myself, I'm able to go in and talk to young people and sit down, just have a long conversation, an open conversation, honest conversation on what fears they may have of the police department, and I can share my experience. I can share to light certain things that I see that can be improved on our end, but also I can able to help them understand better things on how to deal with certain things in the community.
Have you? I talked to an officer this morning who has said that there are times that he will defer a car from coming here because he knows the folks there. He knows the people in that area, and he can defuse a circumstance from escalating. Oftentimes, one of the criticisms of police officers is they come in and they may not know the whole story, and things go from 0 to 80 very, very fast through no fault of them or through anybody, because as you said, nobody sees a police officer, for the most part, on a good day. How big of a thing is for you to build these ties back so that when stuff does happen, you can come in and calm things down? Have you started to build up the cred that you have here?
It takes time. It takes time to build relationships, and that's in any way, any job, anything that you deal with in life. And so my job is to continue to reach out to people every time I see somebody new. People stop by all the time just to greet me, and so I'm able to share myself, share who I am, share my past experience, but also listen to people and see what their needs are, and be able to communicate in a way where they'll understand that, hey, they can count on me. All right. There are some times where I possibly have to be firm with people. Okay, but most of the time, I say 95% of the time, it's about communicating with people, respecting their boundaries, respecting, their issues and their complaints. People are going to have complaints about the police department and how crime is in their neighborhood. My job is to come in and hopefully allow them to share those things with me, and then we've come up with a solution on how to deal with those in the community.
Having come from a background with this level of community policing, do you think that it is the way of the future, in the sense that there have been books written that we cannot arrest our way out of high crime, that it's really a hearts and minds type of a thing, and that's sort of what you are doing here? Do you feel that work like this is vital to repairing our city, which just went through one of its most violent years?
It takes the whole community. It takes a team. Just working with our South Side neighborhood group, putting on, coming together, planning programs and events for, the summer and things like that. It takes a team. It takes the police department. It takes the community residents. It takes the businesses. All of us working as a team, and we'll be able to deal with the issues on all types of levels. Dealing with the crime issue. Dealing with just cleaning up our neighborhood. As a residence officer, we just don't. We just don't arrest people and talk to people. We actually go out here and we get our hands dirty. We help. We clean up the neighborhoods. There's a lot of things that go on the south end here. There's a lot of dumping and stuff like that. So these things, we deal with also too. But we have a team of individuals that are helping us, solve the issues that are happening and making this community a better place.
How much do you get out and walk the streets, walk the neighborhoods? Do you walk your dogs? Do people see you with your kids? Is this really a 24/7 job or no?
Most of the time it is a 24/7 job. I get calls all the time, okay? With the inclement weather, I'm not able to get out, but now once the weather breaks, you'll see your residence officer in the neighborhoods all the time. I like doing street outreach, reaching out to people, walking the neighborhoods. Like you said when you first came in, it's about that beat cop. That beat cop was always walking the neighborhoods. He was hearing certain things that's going on. People walk up to him and things like that. Those type of things that I'm really excited about doing also in this neighborhood, to where people will know hey, that's Officer Hodges. He's our residential neighborhood officer. And they'll be able to trust me and be able to share some things with me that they want to deal with in their community.
So are you worried about your wife and kids being here? I mean, let's face it. Like I said at the start, there's a lot of officers who've chosen to live outside of the city because of the reasons that they have wives and kids.
Well, I mean, that's a concern with everybody's family, wherever you live at, whether you're a police officer or not. So we deal with things in the community in different ways. Sometimes, this job is about service. Okay, it's about serving. It's not a job where you. I mean, sometimes you get afraid of certain things, but right now we're talking about serving community, and that's what we're here for. So I'm not too nervous about my family, but unfortunately it's about service, and that's what I'm here to do. So that's my job. It's not my family's job, but it is my job.